All right, in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to set up FlowSavvy, and I'll walk through the whole app so you can get a feel for how you can use it. FlowSavvy is an automatic scheduler, so you can just throw everything in your to-do list and it will magically create your schedule. For FlowSavvy to schedule like you would, it needs to understand your preferences. So the first thing we'll do is set up our scheduling hours. Okay, we're in FlowSavvy now, and I'm gonna set up my scheduling hours. This is gonna help FlowSavvy understand when I want to do tasks. So we'll go to the top right corner, click the menu, settings, scheduling hours, and then personal hours. And I'll do 7 to 9 p.m. We'll keep it pretty open for this walkthrough. And then I'm gonna click this copy button, and I can just copy that onto any of the other days I want. Perfect, let's finish that. Okay, we've got our scheduling hours in here. Now let's try adding a task. So I'll click the button in the top right corner here, the plus button, and let's just say finish report. I wanna do this sometime by tomorrow. So I'll leave it as a task. I'll leave Smart Schedule turned on because I want FlowSavvy to find the best time for me. And I'll leave it as 1 hour, that's fine, during personal hours. I'll leave it as normal priority, and then due by, I want to get it done sometime before tomorrow. So I'll click that, and I'll leave the rest as defaults. We'll come back to that in a second, but I'll click add, and we can see, okay, cool, it's scheduled it for right now because I have nothing going on right now. Perfect. So we just created a smart scheduled task, and that means FlowSavvy is going to move that task around if anything comes up, if we get behind, or if we didn't complete it and it's in the past, it's going to reschedule that into the future and just always make sure we have time for it. Sometimes though you have events, like regular calendar events you need to put in your calendar and not have FlowSavvy change those around. So let's create an event. You can either click the plus button again, or you can click right on the calendar, and I'll just say appointment. I'll click add, and FlowSavvy now knows that there's an appointment there, and it's gonna reschedule that smart scheduled task so it doesn't conflict. And if I move this appointment around, FlowSavvy is going to keep rescheduling that task. So that's one example with just one task and one event in there, but when you get a lot of things in your calendar, it gets really powerful. So for example, here I've got a packed calendar, and if I do the same thing, if I add an appointment, and even if it's something like 3 hours long, if I add that, FlowSavvy instantly moves everything around, and you can actually see it took those things that were in the past there that I hadn't done today, and it moved those down as well. So now anytime I move this around, it's going to instantly redo my entire calendar. And you can see how that would save a lot of time. If you're time blocking out your entire week, this is just gonna do it all for you instantly. Okay, let's go back to our empty calendar here, and I wanna walk through the task creation process in detail so you know all the tools that are at your disposal. So I'm going to create a new task, and let's say clean house. Just wanna tidy up a little bit. Leave that as smart scheduled again. And yes, we'll leave it in an hour. I could change that if I want, but leave that as an hour. And then we talked about scheduling hours already. You've got a couple different options here that you can set up. These are the defaults, but you can add more or delete these if you want, or change them. For priority, we have a couple options. We have do ASAP, high priority, normal priority, and low priority. I usually leave things as normal priority unless I need them to be scheduled in a different order, but if I put this as high priority, it's gonna take priority on my calendar over anything that's normal or low. And then same thing for these other levels here. Okay, let's jump into more options here. So the first one here is can be started now. This is how you tell FlowSavvy the earliest you're available to start this task. So defaults to now, but if I wanna change that to later, like maybe I don't wanna do this until after 6 p.m. today, I can change this to, I can also just type in here, 6 p.m., hit done, and we'll go back. So it's gonna put it sometime between 6 and the end of my personal hours. Repeating, I'll show you some examples of that. You can do some really powerful things with repeating tasks. I'm gonna skip that for now and come back to it. Splittable, I am going to turn this on. What this means is this task can be split up into multiple chunks. So turn that on, and we'll say min block duration. This is the minimum time I'm okay doing this task. So if I'm okay breaking this up into 15-minute chunks, I'll just do 15 minutes, and let's see what that looks like. Let's see if I can get this to break up. So if I have an appointment, oh, that's right, I said can be started after 6. So let's move this appointment to 6:30. So now you can see it's going to put 30 minutes here and 30 minutes here. Now that might not make sense for an appointment, so this is a good opportunity to talk about the next feature, which is buffer time. You can add this on tasks and events. So I'll click on this event, and in the more options, I'm gonna add some travel time here. It's gonna take me a little bit to get to that appointment. So I'll add some 15 minutes before and after is perfectly fine. So let's do that. Perfect. Now I've got this buffer here, and you can see I've got 15 minutes for the task here, and then it schedules the rest of the 45 minutes later. And of course, if I move that around, it's going to automatically adjust for me. Let's jump back into the task details and keep working through what other options we have. So we've got splittable, and of course you would turn that off if you have to do something in one chunk like groceries. You can't really split up going to the store and coming back. So we just talked about buffer time. If I've completed some of this task, I can mark that progress here, and FlowSavvy will schedule just the rest of it. So for example, let's say I got 15 minutes, I squeezed in 15 minutes somewhere. I'll say I've completed 15 minutes out of an hour, and I'll click save, and we can watch now it's gonna schedule just the rest of the 45 minutes there. Task dependencies. So if I need this task to come after another task, or this task has to be done before something else, I can click that, and I'll say, we'll say clean house has to be done before finish report. And we'll see what that does. Okay, perfect. You'll notice finish report is now coming after the clean house. And if you'll remember, we said the clean house task can't be started until 6, which is why it's coming down here instead of being scheduled right now. But of course, if I went back into clean house and I said can be started now, and I'll click save, it's going to readjust those, maintaining that order with the task dependency. Let's go back in here, and okay, tags. Tags are really useful for organizing your tasks. So if you've got a lot of tasks that are in the same project and you want to keep those together, you can put a tag on them, and then you can filter by those in the to-do list. I'll show you what that looks like. So let's add a tag here, and I guess we'll just say house because this is clean house. So any of my housework, I'll create tag and save that real quick. And then I'm going to switch to the to-do list view. We've got our different tasks here, and it's showing the different priorities. Of course, we only have 2 in here right now, but with the tag, I can go to the filter here, and I can filter by just my house tasks, and it's going to show just the house tasks here, still within all of the different priorities. And of course, you can use this in a lot of different contexts, like if you need to organize everything by projects or by different clients you're working with. So it's really flexible. Let's go back into clean house here and go through the rest of the settings. So we've got calendars. This is just like any other calendar app where you can choose which calendars things go in, and then in FlowSavvy, you can sync those different calendars to your other calendar services like Google, Outlook, and iCloud. The next up here, we've got color. You can either choose to leave it as smart color coding, or you can add your own custom color here. Smart color coding just means tasks are going to be automatically colored by how close they are to the deadline. Now I want to go over repeating tasks. Repeating tasks are really powerful in FlowSavvy because you can just set up your habits and things that have to get done on a regular basis, and FlowSavvy will just keep finding time for them. So I'm back in the schedule now, and I want to create a daily task called read, and I want it to be flexible so that FlowSavvy finds the best time for me. So I will add a task, call it read, let's say just 30 minutes. And we can leave all the rest of this at defaults. I'll say let's say I'll start this tomorrow. So I'll make the first one due tomorrow. More options. I'll change does not repeat to repeats daily. And you can see that just changed here. Instead of saying can be started now it says each occurrence can be started the day of its due date. So each occurrence is going to be able to be started at the start of the day, and it's due by the end of the day. So I'm going to add that, and we'll see what happens. Okay, it scheduled them at the start of the day because my scheduling hours start at 7. So now this is a smart scheduled repeating daily task. That means if I change something, I'll move this appointment again. Let's say something comes up at 7 tomorrow, it's going to change that read to be after my appointment, and same thing. You know, these are very simple examples, but when you've got a lot of things in your schedule, FlowSavvy is going to make sure you still have time for the things that are important to you. I wanted to go back and show one more example so I can point out a feature here. I'm going to say mow the lawn. I want to do this every weekend. So I'll say, yeah, an hour is fine. Due by Sunday because it has to be done by the end of the weekend. And then we'll go down here and say does not repeat. We'll change that to weekly is fine. And of course you can also do custom repeat rules, like if you want this to be done on only certain days or like 3 times a week, you can select 3 days here and that'll create 3 occurrences. I'm gonna leave that as just Sunday for now. And then this option that says each occurrence can be started the day of its due date, I'm gonna say that can actually be started 1 day before its due date. So now I have a repeating task that's due every Sunday and it can be started the day before, which is Saturday. So that's going to, I'll add that. That's gonna put this mow the lawn task every weekend for an hour, sometime between Saturday and Sunday, which is perfect for what I want. Those are the basics of FlowSavvy, just to show you how to create a couple of tasks and events. And I wanted to mention, if you already have events in another calendar that you want to bring into FlowSavvy, that's another good thing to do right off the bat. So how you do that is you go to settings again, and we're going to go this time to calendars. So I can add other accounts here like my Google, iCloud, or Outlook, and then I can choose which calendars to sync from those into FlowSavvy, or I can choose which FlowSavvy calendars to sync to those other accounts. So then FlowSavvy is scheduling my tasks around my events from other accounts, and I can even choose to push those tasks back to my other accounts if I want. Okay, those are the basics of setting up FlowSavvy. We went through setting up your scheduling hours, creating a few tasks and events, and importing your other calendars if you want. If this was helpful, please let me know in the comments, and if you have any questions, you can drop those in the comments as well, or you can reach us through the in-app help center. Thanks for watching.